To see a world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. Give me 10 minutes to take you to the world of Metas.
Metas Adventist School Surat is one of the largest schools of Southern Asia Division with an enrollment of 8,107 students. Still maintaining its streak of success, the school has once again declared its 100% pass results in both the ICSE and the ISC board examinations for the 13th time. 43 students scored center marks in at least one subject. Co-curricular activities boost their aptitude beyond scholastic achievements, unearthing their innate talent and acquired skills. Students are encouraged to take part in international, state and national sporting events. They have excelled in the International Junior World Inline Cup, State Khel Mahakumbh Sports and the district basketball tournaments. Space exploration workshops have become a perennial event. A mini planetarium was set up within the school, opening the window to see the unexplored heavens with the naked eye. Asteroid sighting was the showstopper, with children viewing the moving celestial bodies through a telescope. This summer, 55 students visited the NASA facility in Orlando, Florida. It was a dream come true for aspiring astronauts. A new computer lab, provision for a lift, and shade in the gallery area of the playground are the projects completed recently. Spreading over a rolling campus carpeted in lush green foliage and trees, the Metas Adventist International School at Viara is an educational haven for the children. Its state-of-the-art infrastructure grants students the joy of learning in spacious, well-equipped classrooms with augmented facilities for art, music, drama and other extracurricular activities. Olympic-sized courts, fields for games as well as indoor sports facilities promote physical health. The boarding campus is a home away from home to 154 residential boys and girls. With almost a total strength of 1,536 students, Viara evolved to be a center of education and excellence to many tribal students of the area. Metas Adventist School is a jewel crown in the educational sector at Ranchi with 1,903 students. The board examination results are truly outstanding, a reflection on the high standards of education imparted. A myriad of co-curricular activities encourage to broaden the scope of learning beyond classrooms. Students consistently excel in sports, winning accolades and laurels in statewide competitions. We are addressing our space crunch problem by constructing more classrooms. God willing, our enrollment will cross 2,500 students by the next academic year. Metas Adventist School, Newswood, has preserved its heritage, enduring the odds on its furtherance. There are 898 students studying in the school, with 170 boys and 155 girls staying in the hostels. Out of the abundance of goodness and the generosity of friends and donors, the school is enriched and equipped with educational tools to provide a richer learning experience. This year too, the school has excelled in volleyball, football and badminton tournaments at different levels. The Metas President's Fund helps the economically weaker section students to continue their education and provides for their basic needs too. Metas Adventist College, Surat is the pioneer college of business management studies with a total enrollment of 826 students. Affiliated to the Northeastern Hill University at Shillong, Meghalaya, the college offers BBA, MBA and BCom study programs with a certificate course in Tally with GST. 8 students of the college were among the top 10 in the recent university examinations. Our students never returned empty-handed in the intercollegiate co-curricular and extracurricular activities. The college departmental clubs engage students in knowledge-based learning exercises and community building projects to make them thinkers and not mere reflectors of others' thoughts. We congratulate our 3 faculties, Dr. Mohan Rao N. and Dr. Anil Kumar CH, and posthumously Dr. Job Dondapati for successfully completing their PhDs. We are also happy to inform that 3 more faculties have enrolled in the PhD program. The Metas Adventist School of Nursing has presently admitted the 38th batch of GNM students. Alongside classroom instructions, they engage themselves in clinical postings in the hospital, camps and community service. A vibrant campus of Metas Adventist College, Ranchi offers A&M, GNM, PB, BSc Nursing and the BSc Nursing program with a collective strength of 340 students. Blessed with sound infrastructure and well-equipped labs, the students have the best learning experience from the best team of tutors and clinical instructors. They consistently shine with excellence and outstanding performance in both scholastic and non-scholastic events. The recent Student Nurses Association witnessed an outstanding performance of skill and talent in sports as well as soft skills. Good things are happening on the campus through community building and environmental protection. Metas Adventist College of Nursing, Newswood is the only BSc Nursing college in the town of Newswood, having an enrollment of 243 students. By the grace of God, a good number of students passed with distinction in the years gone by. Students are co-partners in government, welfare and other community programs. They actively engage in bringing awareness against diseases and promote a preventive healthy lifestyle. They are exposed to research activities and sent to participate in conferences and seminars to update their knowledge and nursing practices. Research and development is taken seriously at Metas campuses. Faculty are actively engaged in paper presentations at the state, national and international conferences. Several books have also been published by our faculty in various disciplines. Mr. Sanjit Prakash was awarded the title Young Researcher. Metas Adventist Hospital, Surat is one of the oldest yet the modern medical institution of Southern Asia Division. Serving since 1923, the hospital has grown from an insignificant clinic to the present state-of-the-art edifice. Known for its excellence in quality service, this NABH-approved facility has seen 73,434 OPD patients and 11,042 inpatients. To its already vast scope of services, the hospital is granted permission to set up a renal transplant unit. There are plans for setting up a liver transplant unit in the near future. The hospital is also a certified teaching hospital for the DNB program in general medicine. Other courses in the pipeline are the CPS in gynecology and the Indo-Australian critical care course. Healthcare has become more accessible and affordable to the public with the introduction of government schemes such as Ma Yojana, Ayushman Bharat, etc. Being recognized for its quality service, the hospital was awarded Best Hospital in South Gujarat by the Times Group, My FM channel and other regulatory bodies. For the convenience of the campus residents, staffs, students and patients, an ATM is installed within the hospital premises. The Metas Adventist Hospital in Ranchi is improving. It has seen 11,922 patients and treated 6,591 so far this year. A total of 1,006 major and minor surgeries were performed. The eye department is picking up well. 3,000 OPD patients were seen while 131 were operated. Health camps were conducted to help the people in rural and remote areas where healthcare is not accessible. The new ICU wing is a blessing to the hospital and the community. A new software installed at the pharmacy makes inventory and management of drugs a lot easier for the pharmacy department. The operation theatre is now functioning with modern LED lighting system. A new scan machine was purchased for the department. For the benefit of the majority, the hospital is envisaging a tie-up with Ayushman Bharat PM Yojana scheme in the future. American Hospital, as it is still known today, Gifford Memorial Hospital, is inching towards its 100 years of service in the town of Newswood. Since 1925, many seeking respite from their ailments walked into its portals, experiencing healing from the great physician. This year, 897 OPD patients were seen, while 6,581 patients were admitted, with 229 surgeries performed altogether. 1,478 patients were seen in the IOPD, while 220 patients were given a second chance to see through successful surgeries. The GM Hospital in Newswood is undergoing a massive expansion program that will see the addition of new wings, new equipment, and the construction of 4 new operation theatres. Furthermore, additional accommodation is being built for the staff and the doctors. A cemented road around the hospital is laid, making the pathways more comfortable and easier to maintain. The hospitals at Ranchi and Newswood are working towards acquiring the entry-level NABH accreditation. There is a pressing need to build new hostels at Newswood and staff quarters. A new 750-bedded super specialty hospital is planned in the Ranchi campus, which will be taken phase-wise. A new nursing block, hostels, and staff quarters will be taken up simultaneously. The Lord has heard our prayers and granted us permission to establish the Northeast Adventist University at Jowai, Meghalaya. The IBE has graciously granted us permission to start 6 programs for the year 2020. Much is to be done and a lot more to accomplish for the Lord before we can rest. I beseech your prayer in uplifting Metas for his ministry. May the Lord bless Metas as we continue to strive to be a center of excellence in education and healing. Thank you.
Good evening, one and all. Kurt Lewin says, no research without action, no action without research. I, Vishwa Kikaganesh, Assistant Professor of Metas Adventist College, Surat, on behalf of our Honorable Dr. Elia Shrikakoli, Chancellor of Northeast Adventist University, Jowai, Shillong, and President and CEO of Metas Group of Institutions, take the opportunity to welcome you all for an international webinar on action research in education. I welcome all the research scholars, faculties, and students from various institutions. On behalf of Metas Adventist College, Surat, I welcome today's speaker, Dr. Kalai Selvan Arumugham.
Thank you, Vishwa ma'am. I, Ranjita Bhaumik Shastri, Assistant Professor, Metas Adventist College, your MOC for today's international webinar, is gratified to all the participants for joining us. Our very acclaimed and respected resource person for today's international webinar, Dr. Kalai Selvan, Senior Lecturer, National Institute of Education, Management and Leadership, Ministry of Education, Malaysia, is going to elucidate us with his expertise on action research in education. Dear participants on Zoom platform and YouTube Live, please pay attention to few instructions. Keep posting your queries, doubts, and questions on YouTube comment section or Zoom chat box to get it addressed by our resource person. Please note, number of questions to be addressed is subjected to time constraint. Feedback link for the webinar will be posted in YouTube comment section and Zoom chat box during the question answer session. Submission of feedback form is mandatory to procure participation certificate. Kindly note that your name in the participation certificate will be as per your registration form. No changes will be entertained for the same later on. I would now like to invite and hand over the time to Shyam Prasad Sir, our Associate Vice President, Metas Adventist College, Surat, for offering prayer.
Okay, let us pray. Our Father in heaven, thank you for blessing us with the honor of listening to Dr. Kalai Selvan. As he storms us with immense knowledge, may we observe every bit of it. Bless him and his work. We seek your blessings upon all our virtual attendees, and we need your presence to be with us throughout this webinar. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Shyam Prasad Sir. I would like to invite and hand over the time to Dr. N. Mohan Rao, Professor and Head of the Department for Management, Metas Adventist College, Surat, for his address.
Thank you, Ranjita ma'am, and good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of our President and CEO, Department of Management, we are delighted to organize this webinar. The webinar designed to assist us to learn and recognize research in education. Educational action research involves participants conducting inquiry into their own practices and programs. This means that the researcher is a participant in the activity being investigated, be it in the institution or community centers, wherever teaching and learning occurs. Action research education refers to a wide variety of evaluative, investigative, and analytical research methods designed to diagnose the problem or weaknesses, whether organizational, academical, or institutional, and help educators develop practical solutions to address them quickly and effectively. We are privileged and delighted to have Dr. Kalai Selvan, a senior lecturer of National Institute of Educational Management and Leadership, Ministry of Education, Malaysia. One of the experts in the field of educational research, and also conducted and attended various webinars, is going to provide us with an overview of the research in educational research. Thank you for joining today's webinar.
Thank you, Mohan sir. Without keeping you wait for longer, now I would like to request Ms. Tushti Bakrania, Assistant Professor, Metas Adventist College, Surat, to introduce the resource person for today's international webinar.
Thank you, Ranjita ma'am. It gives me a great pleasure to introduce our resource person, Dr. Kalai Selvan, who is going to talk about action research in education. Dr. Kalai Selvan is currently attached as a senior lecturer with National Institute of Educational Management and Leadership in Malaysia. He has obtained his doctorate from University Utara, Malaysia. His research areas mainly consist of curriculum instructions, educational assessments, instructional leadership, action research in education, quantitative research methodology. He has won various best teaching awards at national and international level. Talking about his research area, he has published and presented many research papers at international level, which gave a totally new perspective in educational studies. Without wasting much of our time, we would like to welcome you, sir, on behalf of our President and CEO, Dr. Ilya Srikakoli. Over to you, sir. Thank you. Over to Dr. Kalai, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, first of all, I would like to thanks to the Metas Adventist College for giving a good opportunity to share my knowledge regarding an action research. Okay, so basically in education field, there are so many changes that keep on happening, especially in the current situations. We know that we are facing like a COVID-19 pandemic, and this issue we can overcome. Okay, however, whatever the things is going on, we can overcome smoothly, as well as I can say effectively all over the world in education field. Okay, so once again, thanks for the organizer to organize such a very good sharing sessions. So I would like to share some slides here. Okay, is it my slides is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so as stated by the chairperson just now, I'm going to give a talk on action research in education. Okay, so basically this is a learning process, not to say that I'm a very expert in these things, but I have conducted many action research in education, so that what are the things that I have done, I will share with you all. Okay, so we look at the structure of action research. Okay, basically what is action research? Okay, as I said just now, in education field there is a need for a change. Okay, there is a need for a change, and in order to cater all these kind of changes in education, we need to conduct research. Okay, we know that research will give a new findings. Okay, research will give a new answer for each of the problems that we are facing. But what I can say is research in education field is something that is very unique, and we must know the first and foremost, we must know what are the steps that we need to take in order to conduct a very good research to overcome the problem that we are facing. Okay, so what is action research actually? Okay, action research is a process of systematic reflection, inquiry, and action carried out by individuals about their own practice. Okay, we know that most of us are in this education field. We are lecturers, we are teachers, and we are also the administrator of one institution. So in order to reflect ourselves, whether we want to see what we are doing is correct or what are the improvement that we can do, is basically we have to identify systematically. We have to reflect on each of the things that we are doing in our practice. Of course, we can teach in our own way, but we must identify whether what we are doing, what we are practicing is meeting the objective or not. So for reflecting, okay, for the reflection purpose, we have to conduct this action research. So in another terms, we can say that action research is a term used to describe professionals studying their own practice in order to improve it. So action research is something for the improvement purpose. Okay, maybe sometimes we can say that what we are doing is very good enough, but we don't know, okay, whether what we are doing is suitable for our students or not. Or sometimes like this institution leaders, what they are doing, they are thinking that whatever the system that they are introducing in their institution is good enough, but we must see whether the other person, the third person, is getting the objective or not, the getting their benefit of what we are introducing or not. So in order to identify the steps, the practice that we are doing, action research is a must in every educational institution. Okay, so that is why in education field we are always welcoming action research, rather than we are concentrating on some other like types of research. So whenever you see action research, it is always related to education field. So That's why I am focusing particularly action research in education. Okay, because all of us are educators. I know there are so many students, lecturers, teachers, school administrators. Everyone is here in this platform to gain some knowledge. Okay, why there is a must in education, action research in education. So we look at these definitions. Okay, action research in education is an inquiry which is carried out in order to understand, evaluate, and then to change in order to improve some educational practices. So that's why now we are facing this, due to this COVID, a lot of changes happen in our education system. All over the world, we are facing so many problems. But we cannot assume that that is a problem, but we must think on how we can do the changes and how we can do some improvement so that our students still can benefit all the things that we are delivering. So in order to see the change, in order to understand whatever that the things that we are doing, especially the programs, the teaching methodology, okay, the school improvement program, the institutional improvement program, we must carry out action research so that the action research will give the answer whether what we are doing is meeting the objective or not. So when applied to teaching, action research involves gathering and interpreting data to better understand an aspect of teaching and learning and applying the outcomes to improve practice. So in this case, it is very clear that we need the data. Okay, we need the data. What is going on at this moment? Okay, we need to collect the data. So the lecturers, the educators, they must collect the data from their students. Okay, later part, I will explain how we can do the data collection for action research, how we can identify the problems and how we can solve the problem. So this is a very brief introduction. Okay, in a very simple things, I can say, in a very simple words, I can say that action research is more on improving our actions. Okay, we are trying to improve because the improving process will not stop at one stage. It will goes up. That's why when we can see in education, we are always facing with a lot of changes. Why these changes is happening? It is because of the, I can say, because of the data. We are getting the data and we are always in the terms of improving our practice. Okay, so actually action research is not something very new for the educational world. Okay, it is not something very new. So when you look at the brief history of action research, okay, so the term action research was coined by Kalai, a social psychologist in 1930s. So in 1930s, it started already. Because why? They are trying to get some improvement on their practice. That is basically what is action research. We want to improve our practice. And when we want to improve our practice mean, we need some data. Okay, we need some data and we need some problems. Okay, so we have to identify from the data itself, we can know the problem and we will take the action to improve it and we have to overcome the problem. Okay, according to Kalai, social conditions might be enhanced through the group process that involve 4 steps. Okay, since those days, all the educators, okay, we will do the planning part. Before we deliver our lesson, before we do some program, we will do some planning. So action research, in action research, planning is the first step that you must take. Okay, what we want to improve, we must put a question to ourselves, what we are planning to do, what are the programs, why we want to do this. So we must have a proper planning. The second stage is from the planning part, we are implementing, or we can say acting. we try to do it. We already plan a like for example, we want to improve on delivering method. So we already plan what are the programs that we want to do for our teachers. Okay, so in that part we must act. So we must do some acting or implementation. And after we started to implement or after we started to act, we must observe. We must observe the things is going on smoothly or not. So what are the things is going on? So all this comes from the observation. So after you observe something, after you observe the acting, you must reflect, because end of the day we want to see the success of our program, success of our objective. So these are the four steps, these are the four process that is very clear explained by Kurt Lewin from those days, and until now we are implementing all this process. Okay, so these steps lead to the development of action research. So in your institution, let's say you want to do the action research, you must plan what you want to do. What are the area that you want to improve? So from that, you must create some program. You must create some acting, so that from the acting, you can observe. You can observe. Later part, I will give you some examples on how you can apply. So this is like still we are in the early stage of the introductions. Okay, so all of us must remember that in action research, these four steps are very important. Okay, and then when we look at the Kurt Lewin, what he's trying to say is development of action research took place in 3 different stages. Okay, so the first stage, what you have to do in the first stage is identification of a process for addressing societal issues. So remember that when you want to do action research, there must be some issues. That's why I say just now, data is very important. Okay, so data is very important. Later part, I will explain how we can do the data collection, how we can get the data to do the action research. So the first part, on the first stage, we have to identify the issue. What is the issue? Okay, why we need to do this research? What problem that we want to solve? Okay, from that come to the second stage, improving practice and the need to involve practitioners. So we know already that there is a problem. Okay, the problem can be in our teaching and learning, in administrations. Okay, the interaction between teachers and students, the interaction between lecturers and students. So what we want to do is we want to improve, because what will happen basically in education field, like we are happy with what we are doing, like especially the teachers. Some of the teachers, they are very good, they are preparing, they are doing their teaching and learning process. Okay, but we must remember one thing. Okay, we must remember one thing. Okay, the first and foremost is whether the person, the students, okay, are they gaining from what we are doing? So from that, there are many results, okay, many data that we can use for the second stage. The third stage is participatory, emancipatory, or community research, in which groups assume responsibility for their own emancipations and change. Here come the institution, the whole organization, okay, where they introduce with new kind of problem solving, like in okay, it comes from the community improvement. Okay, so we as an educators, we cannot stand alone. We must get together with the administration, we must get together with our colleagues, so that we can do this action research in a group. Because why? when we started to think on a group, it will give the benefit for the whole organizations. So here I try to relate, okay, individual development, or we call it as an ID, okay, individual development, where we identify the problem. We identify the problem, what is going on, then we turn it into action. We turn it into action where the action will benefit the whole organization. That's the OD, or organizational development. You can see from the individual development, we started to do improvement, and from that improvement, it will benefit the whole organization. Okay. Okay, now we look at the framework, okay, framework of action research. Okay, there are so many frameworks. When you Google and see, we can get a lot of frameworks about action research. Okay, but in my experience, I like to use this framework because it is very simple and it can give a very clear explanation for everyone to conduct action research. Okay, the first things is, okay, identify the problem and envision success. So in each of our institution, we know that there are many problems. Like, what are the problems that I can give is the use of technology, the effectiveness of use of technology in conducting online classes. So now in this situation, there is no chances for us and we need to use online classes. But in conducting online classes itself, we are facing so many kinds of problems. Or as a school administrator or as an institution administrator, you have a problem in like developing your lecturers, okay, developing your lecturers in conducting online teaching and learning. So we have to find out which area that we are facing a problem. So once we already find out with a problem, then the second stage is develop a plan of action. That is why we call this one as an action research. Okay, action research means there are some plan, and from that plan, we try to identify what are the action that we can take to for the purpose of improvement. Okay, so at this stage, I will say that the institution can introduce a program because we already knows that there is a problem, and for the particular problem, we have to create an action. We have to create an action. So we try to do some program. So that program is a part of our action. And from that program, from the program that were introduced to our institution, we can do data collection. Let's say we want to see some improvement. So the data collection process will be the pre-test and post-test. So this is the very simple things that we can do in our institution. Okay, we can do the pre-test. Before we come out with our program or before we come out with our action, so what are the results? Like maybe the students' attendance to the schools or the frequency of teachers using online classes, we try to come out with the pre-test. So after we implement our program, because just now, as I said, we already planned for the program. So from the planning, we turn it into action. So after the action, we try to collect the data. We try to collect the data one more time. So this is what we call it as a post-test. Okay, we do it a post-test. So it is not like a PhD research or a doctorate research where we need a long period of time to conduct action research. Okay, action research can be done in 3 months. Okay, in 3 months we can do the action research. Okay, just we need to do some pre-test. From the pre-test itself, we try to get some data, And from the data, we identify a problem and we try to solve the problem. How we create the program? What are the suitable program to overcome the problem? And after we run the program, we need to collect the data, because we need to know whether there is some gap or our problem already solved. So there come this part where we analyze and form conclusions. Okay, we analyze the data. Let's say out of 10 students, okay, out of 10 students, 5 students, okay, 6 students, they can adopt with the new norm, that they can adopt with the online teaching and learning. So what happened to the 4 out of the 10? What happened to the 4? So we must have the data like that. So we analyze. Okay, so once we know that from the post test, okay, we know some data from the post test, so we report the results. Okay, we report the results. Okay, and from the report, we try to adjust the theory and begin again. So what I want to highlight here is, it is not exactly like our normal research, where when we do the normal research, like what we are doing previously, like in a doctorate, the PhD students, once they collect the data, they will report. That is the end of their research. But in action research, there is no ending. Here, you have to adjust the theory. As I said just now, we already took some action. And when we analyze the data, there are still some problems that we cannot overcome. So here come the begin again. So we have to start again the research with the 4 students, as example that just now I gave you, right? Out of the 10, 6 already adopt to the online learning, but 4 of them, they still cannot adopt with the online learning. So what you are going to do with the 4 of them? So here starts again, begin again. So when you begin again, what will happen? The cycle will move one more time. With the 4 students, you know already the problem. The 4 students cannot adopt with the new online learning. So you develop a plan for that particular group of students or teachers. Okay, another example I can give. Okay, the lecturers, they are not used to the online learning program. They are not, like you can say, online is not user friendly for them. So we develop a plan. What you are going to do with the teachers, or what you are going to do with the lecturers that are not really convenience with the online teaching and learning. So maybe we can do some in-house training, okay, for the improvement purpose. So we collect the data. So when you're doing this one, we can collect the data. How many of the educators, how many of the lecturers are already adopted to the online teaching and learning? So we start again, analyze and form a conclusion. Let's say out of the 20 lecturers, okay, out of the 20 lecturers, all of them are able to use the online teaching and learning, so that we can end our research here. So we don't have to move again one more cycle. So it can go the first cycle, it can move on to the second cycle, it can move to the third cycle until we solve the problem. That's why I say that action research in education is not same as the research that we are doing. Because the aim of action research in education is we want to solve the current problem. Okay, we want to solve the current problem. So the current problem solving, it cannot prolong for 1-2 years in the period of time. That's why I say action research can be done in a very short period of time, like 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months. Don't go more than 3 months in doing action research. Okay, so Next, we look at types of action research design. Okay, so there are two types of action research design. The first one is practical action research design. Okay, the first one, the practical action research design is enhances the practice of education through the systematic study of a local problem. Okay, here I give you two examples of practical action research. The first one, an elementary teacher studies their disruptive behavior of a child in her classroom. So, meaning to say, in this context, okay, in this context, the teacher is trying to study on the child behavior. So it comes to the practical. What are the practical things that we are going to do? So the second example, a college instructor studies his professional development using technology in teaching. So we all, like an educators, of course, we have our own strategies. We can say that we are very expert in delivering method, but we still have to study whether what we are doing for our students is reliable or not. Otherwise, we will be happy, but we don't know the students. Like the administrator, okay? The administrator or the management team, they are introducing some programs for their lecturers for the personal development, okay, for the organization development. So the management team must look at the programs. They have to do the action research. They have to identify whether what they are doing is, whether what the program that they are doing is really suitable for their team members or not, whether it is suitable for the organization or not. So practical action research is more on, we are doing research on our daily practice. Okay, it is more on what we are practicing. Okay, in the management, we have a few skills of management. So we try to research on the particular skills that we are using. Okay, to make sure that both of the parts are very happy. Like sometimes the management team, they are thinking in a different way, where the lecturers or the organizations is not happy with what they are doing. So they have to come out with the action research first. They know already the problem, so they know already what are the programs that they are going to introduce. So they try to research on it, whether what they are doing is really can solve the problem or not. Okay. The second aspects, okay, the second aspects is participatory action research. Okay, it is a collaborative and community-based research. That's why I can say individual development. Okay, when we are attached to one organization or educational institution, our own development will contribute for the total of the organization. So individual development, okay, individual development will help the organization development. So we must collaborate. We must collaborate. Let's say we have one department. So for that particular department, they're trying to do some action research to make sure that they are improving. That particular department is improving. Contributes to emancipations or change. Okay, as I said just now, due to the Fullan theory, he like to say about the change in education. Okay, why we need a change in education? Because we are keep moving, and the product of our institution must cater the global needs. So in order to that, we still cannot be orthodox. So to overcome it, whether we are still using the orthodox skills or we are still using the traditional skills, all come from the research. So we have to find out whether what we are doing is suitable for the current situations or not. So for that particular, we need to do action research. Address the social problems that constrain and repress the life of students and educators. So in action research in education, it is benefit for the students as well as educators. Because why? We we are the educators. We try to deliver the best practice for our students. So when we want to see, when we want to evaluate whether what we are doing is really a good, a really a suitable things, so we must do action research. Okay, we must do action research. We can do the action research for our materials, the materials that we are doing for using for our teaching and learning, the management strategies that we are using in our organizations. So all these things need to do need to come out with action research. Okay, examples. The examples that I can give is curricula that deny students enrollment. Okay, we know that previously student-centered learning. Okay, most of us are using student-centered learning. And in this 21st century, we know that student-centered learning is really orthodox and it cannot make the students feel happy to learn. So we must find out what are the strategies that we can use to make sure that students can enroll, students can engage with the learning process. Okay, another examples that I can give is assessments that serve to confirm students' failure rather than learning. So we are conducting assessment, but our assessment aim is to see whether the fail, the pass, but we couldn't see the learning process. By conducting action research, we can see the students' learning process, each of the angle. That means step by step, we can see what the students are learning. Okay, in which area the dilution happened. Okay, all these things can be done with action research. Okay, like K-12 classroom interactions that silence and quiet the voices of certain students. So in our classroom, there are some students that they are very active in learning, but some of the students, they don't want to participate. Okay, they like to be very quiet. And then, so how we are going to overcome? So when you use the same teaching strategies for all the students, and definitely those who are very quiet and silent will left behind. So we as an educators, we have to plan. We have to come out with the strategies. We have to put into action to make sure that that particular students also can engage with the teaching and learning. Okay, equitable distribution of college faculty salaries that favor man over women. Okay, so this is for the management team to identify. Okay, so the management team. So sometimes we know that the man lecturers attitude, man educators attitudes are different compared to women. So all these things is a management task, the institution management task, to come out with action. So what are the action? So the action must be together with the research so that we can solve the problem easily. Okay. Key characters of action research. Remember that action research is not same as research what we are doing. Okay, like normally we know that like a PhD students and then the scholars, they like to do research. And action research in education is totally different compared to the normal research. Okay, why I'm saying so? Because there are few characteristics of action research. Okay, the first one is address practical issues. Okay, normally in research, we have to find out the research gap. But in action research, we need a practical issues that happening in our own institution. We cannot bring other institutions' problem as an research problem. So each of our own institution, we have our own practical issues. So you can sit together with your organization committee or your organizations people, you can sit together to identify what is the real problem happening in your institution. That's why I say action research is a very simple compared to normal research. Because in normal research, we have to find out the research gap. It comes from the literature review. But here, we don't have to look at the literature review at all. What we are going to solve is our practical issues that is happening in our institution. And the second key character is self-reflective. Okay, so when we look at the characteristic of action research, it is more on self-reflection. We as an educator, what we can do is we plan our lesson, what we are going to deliver. So after you deliver your lesson, you try to reflect yourself. You try to reflect yourself whether what you have done for your students is reliable or not. So you must look at the students' progress. You must look at the students' assessment result. Maybe you are a very good instructor or very good educator, but when come to a certain topic, you feel that you are facing difficulties in delivering that. So you try to solve on that particular topic. So you try to come out with the model of instruction. Okay, so you come out with the models or different models of instruction and you try to run it. You try to come into action so that you can get the data. You can get the data, what is going on. Okay, the program that I'm introducing, the strategies that I'm introducing is reliable or not, is suitable for or not. So you try to take note. You try to reflect yourself. And of course, it is a collaborative research. Like as I said just now, you can do it for your own department. Okay, let's say it is for your own department, you can come out with your organization. Okay, based on plan of action. So we know already action research is based on our planning. What we are going to do. Okay, what we are going to do. What are the programs? What are the steps that we are going to take to overcome the problem? Okay, and of course, the final is sharing reports. Here come the, what we can say, like a professional learning community. Okay, I hope that every colleges, every education institution, please come out with a platform for your professional learning community. So from the professional learning community, you can share the reports. Like what I can say, maybe you have 5 departments in your institution. So each of the department, they come out with own action research. So after they conducted their action research, they can share among their departments, okay, among the organization. What are the best practice that they have done that it can cater for the improvement purpose. Okay, so these are the characteristic of action research that everyone must concern on it. So don't think that action research is something very difficult. It will take a long time to conduct and you need a lot of data. It is not like our PhD or scholars research. It is on improving purpose. We try to improve. Let's say we have a lack. Okay, let's say we have a dilution in management skills. We try to overcome our management skills. Let's say we have a problem in teaching and learning, so we try to overcome our teaching and learning. Let's say we have a problem in preparing our lesson materials, we try to take some action to overcome the in preparing our teaching and learning materials. Okay. So normally when I want to find out the problem, these are the aspects that I would like to say for the audience. So how you can find out the problem? The first thing is you can come out with the 5W1H. Okay, So you must ask a question, who you are and who are the audience. Like we as an educators, we know that we are an educators and we have our students. What is our problem? We have to identify what is our problem. So we have to ask a question to ourselves, where you want to lead your organization, okay, where you want to bring up your organization, and when is the right timing. It is the time frame. Okay, you can take the time frame, how long you want to do, how long you are going to take to solve this problem. Okay, and then like why. Okay, so you must ask a question, why there is a need to solve this problem, and finally how you are going to solve this problem. So you must have all the questions here and answers here before you conduct the action research in your institution. For your institution, you can do a brainstorm. Okay, you can do a brainstorm to find out, okay, who, what, where, when, why, how. So this is a strategy that I say it is more on professional learning community. So you sit together with your organization team, and you try to throw the idea. From the idea, you know where is the gap and where you need to settle the problems. Okay, and then we look at the steps in action research. Okay, what are the steps that you need to take on conducting action research? Okay, the first thing is you have to identification of a problem. Okay, problem to be studied is identified. Okay, so how you can identify a problem? So later I will talk on this particular aspect deeply, because most of the institution, most of the, the researcher, they are facing a problem in identifying the problem. So what are the methods of identifying a problem? I will talk deeply in a short while. Okay, so identification of problem means you have to identify a problem, what you are going to do. Okay, and the second aspect is locating resources to determine what others have learned about solving a particular problem. So when you solve this problem, what are the things that we are going to gain? Okay, what are the objectives that we are going to meet? So we have to find out for that. And the final one is data collection. Okay, data collection. So data collection is a part where we are experiencing, okay, we are experiencing it. We are going to get some experience for the improvement purpose, inquiring and examining. So you have to examine whatever the programs, whatever the steps that you plan for your institution or for your own. So you have to examine or you have to assess it. All these steps, is there any worth of conducting all these programs for your institution? Okay, so here is one picture that I would like to share with all of you that is happening in one institution. We just try to think 1 minute on this picture. Okay, normally if I have the face-to-face session, I can ask the questions from my audience. Since I don't have the face-to-face interaction with my audience, so what I can say, you try to think deeply on this picture. This is happening in one schools, for example. Okay, so everyone has their own way. Okay, they do not have the collaboration. So that's why I can say most of the institution, you all cannot solve the problem. You cannot come out with a good resolutions for the problem. So you cannot resolve the problem because everyone, we are doing the work separately. So as I said just now, action research is something, is a collaboration work. You have to collaborate among the faculty members. You have to collaborate among your department members so that you can see the improvement for the whole organization. Because when we are designing a work for our own, of course, it can give benefit for our own self, okay, for our own, but it won't give a big impact for the organization. Okay, so we must collaborate each other. When we want to find out the problem, let us sit together. Let us become a very professional learning community platform so that from that we can identify a problem. So this is the way on identifying a problem. As I said just now, there are many ways, okay, where most of the institution they are facing this kind of problem is actually they don't know how to find out the problems, because why? We didn't sit together. We didn't sit together to identify the problem. So the first thing what we can do is on brainstorm. We must learn to brainstorm. Okay, what is brainstorm actually? It is more on you all are sitting together. Okay, you have a discussion. What are the problems is a real problem, because sometimes the problems can be major and minor problem. So what we are going to solve is actually the major problem. So we have to sit together. We have to sit together among our faculty members to identify what area you need to close the gap, so that that gap will give, when you close the gap, it will give a very good benefit for your organization development. The second things that you can do is on gallery walk. Okay, gallery walk is like you have a different department in your institution. You have, for example, 5 departments in your institution. So every department, okay, every department, they will try to brainstorm and they try to show what are their problems. So the other team, the other faculty members, they can go around to see what they have stated, so that the administration, the management, the top management, they can find out what are the real problem in that institution that need to they need to take an immediate action. Okay, so for each of these things we have we have the problems in doing face-to-face activities, so that we cannot do much, but I just giving some input. I'm just giving you some examples on what you can do in your institution. So maybe you have 5 departments. So 5 departments come out with the different brainstorm group, and then the other group, each of other groups they go around and share their findings, so that you can identify the problem. Instructional round. Okay, this one is for the top management. So maybe they want to get some information, and they want to do some further improvement for the organization. They can go and check every classrooms, how the lecturers are conducting the lecture. Or if you are a department head, you can go around to see. You can go around your institution to get information. So you just jot down what are the problems that you see, and then you can sit together with your team members and you can find out, is this a real problem? So from that particular problem, you can plan your action. Okay, apart from these 3, you can also get teacher's voice. Teacher's voice or the educator's voice. What are the problems that we are facing in our institution? What are the problems that we are facing in our college? So get the voice from the teachers, because sometimes the top management, what they will do, they make their own decision without getting teacher's voice. Okay. And then after getting the teacher's voice, we must also get students' voice. From the students' voice, we can get to know that what the problems that students are facing. Okay, and the final one is observation study. Observation study, this can be done by the top management, middle management, teachers or lecturers, and also students. They observe. Okay, let's say today you come to the your classroom, you want to do the teaching and learning, you do some observation. Or the top management, let's say they want to do observation for their lecturers. Okay, so they can observe what the lecturers are doing, what are their teaching skills, which part they need to improve. Then you can sit together, you can come out with the problem, and for that particular problem, you try to plan. Okay, you try to plan and you try to research it by using some programs that you can introduce for your universities, college, or any of your institution. Okay, so these are the data collection techniques. Okay, these are the data collection techniques that you can use in order to collect the data. Okay, so the first one is experiencing. That means we can collect data from our own experience, like participant observation. Okay, from participant observation. Okay, privileged active observer, passive observer. So you try to collect data from your own experience. Like let's say you are a top management of your institution, you are the resource person. You try to experience it. You go to the classroom, you see what is happening in the classroom. Okay, you take part or you engage with the teaching and learning process. So from that experience, you can get the data or the input for your research. Okay, or inquiring. That means you are going to get the data from third person. So for if you want to get the data from the third person, what you can do is formal interview. Okay, you can do informal interview. So maybe you just go and have a chit chat with your colleagues. Okay, you can go and have a chit chat with your colleagues or your department head. Okay, structural formal interview. So if you want to get this kind of data also, what you can do a formal interview. So you try to set, for example, the top management, they want to find out some data from the lecturers. So they sit for the formal interview to gain some data. So from that data, you can identify the problems. From that problems, you can take some action for the improvement purpose. Or we can do questionnaires. Okay, we can set questionnaires. So from that questionnaires, we can get some information. Attitude tests. Okay, attitude tests. There are so many attitude tests in Google's. You can check which is suitable for your institution. Okay, standardized tests. This is basically for a teacher or an educator to test the student whether the lesson that they are delivering, okay, the students can understand or not. So you can do the standardized test. You try to do some pre-test and post-test. Okay, from the pre-test, you try to identify which area the students have a problem, and from that particular part, you try to get some plan, and the plan you turn into action. So that is what we call action research. Or you can examining the data, okay, like a documents, like exam papers, okay, or the lesson plan. Okay, so you can, you can analyze. Like for example, one top management, okay, the management, they want to do some improvement in teaching and learning. So they can look at the lecturers or the educators' delivery planning. So from the delivery planning, they know what are the gaps that need to be closed. Okay, journals, maps, audio and video tapes, artifacts. So these are the things that you can use to get the data. Okay, you can use all these kind of techniques to collect the data, so that from these data collection techniques, you know where is the problem, what to do, what are the actions need to be taken to overcome this problem, and finally you can close the gap in your institution. Okay, so this is the same, almost the same like data analysis. Okay, data can be analyzed by the researcher or the help of other educators, or data analysts can be sought. Okay, maybe you can sit in one team in your department to find out where is the gap. Okay, from the data you can find out where is the gap, and from that gap what are the planning that you can do. You see, you must have the data. Without data you cannot develop a plan for action. Okay, so once you have the data, once you know the problem, which area you need to solve, then you can come out with a planning for action, presenting the data to important stakeholders. Okay, so let's say you are an educator in one institution. So you want to present it to your top management. You want to say that how many percentage of the students are facing this kind of problem, how many percentage of students they are still having a learning problem. So all these things can be come out with the data analysis. Okay, establishing a pilot program. So as I said just now, when you have the data only, you can plan for a program. Because the most of the failure in the educational program is because we do not have a proper data, and we don't have a proper problem, and we didn't plan to solve the problem. That is why action research is very important, because from action research we can do a very systematic planning. Okay, we can do a very systematic planning because we already identify what is the real issue in our institution, what is a real issue in our classroom. So from that, like a real problem, then only we plan the program. But what the most of the educational institution they will do is, they will plan a program to cater the students and the educators without looking at the real problem in their institution. Okay, so implementing an outgoing research agenda to explore new practices. So this is why Fullan always say that you must come out with the change. You must come out with a new practice so that your organization will improve in future. Otherwise, we will keep on doing the same program without any impact. So that is the main failure of most of the institution. We have a nice program. We plan for a very, a very good program. And I'll be very happy, like some of them, if I go to any institution, they can show to me, oh, these are our programs. We have more than 100 programs. But I will always ask, where is your problem? Where is your issue? So, is these programs can overcome these issues? Okay, so that's why we can say action research in education is a very important aspect that every institution, every educational institution must come out with the idea. When we want to plan something, it must come from the issue. It must come from the problem. From that particular problem, we create the program and we research. we research on it, then only we can come out with the new practices. This is how the changes can happen in education system. Otherwise, we will introduce many policies, many new things, but we didn't meet the objective. We cannot get what we want. So that's how I say that action research is very important. That's why it started from those days. They already introduced action research as one of the tools for improving individual development and also organization development. Okay, implementation of a plan. When we plan something, we have to monitor. Not only planning, when you come to the implementation, there must be a monitoring process. Because when we monitor, then only we can see the impact. And from the impact, we have to come out with the reflection. Don't forget to do the reflection after you conduct the action research. Okay, to know what is learned or gained from implementation of plan. So you must reflect. Okay, you must reflect. Okay, I have done this program. I have introduced this program. So what are the benefits that I gain from this program? If you didn't get any benefits, mean there is no point to continue the program. So you can stop and you can do some changes or you can do some modification for the program. And last but not least, don't forget to share your reports. Okay, because why? Report is shared with educators that can immediately use the results. Sometimes we will do in a group, we will do this action research in our department. We didn't share the best practice to other department. So action research is something that is more on sharing the best practice. If you are a very good top management for the institution, you have done many good programs for the organization development, try to share with other institutions as well. Or you are the department head that you have created a good program, you research on it, and you have get a lot of good benefits from that, try to share with the other department. Let's say you are a teacher, you have conducted an action research which give a lot of benefits and good impact for your students. Please share it with another teachers. So that is how we can develop the education. That is how we can develop the best practice for our future, not only for our own, but for our organization development. So I would like to conclude here. Okay, I would like to conclude here. Action research will come from a problem. For that particular problem, you try to find out a solution by creating some action and you implement the action. After you implement, you reflect it. Okay, you reflect it and you will get what are the benefits or what are the advantages and disadvantages of some of the programs or some of the steps that you have taken. Okay, so for me, I will say that action research is a very beautiful thing. It's a very beautiful sharing if you can do it in your organization. Okay, it is not a research that will come like a PhD thesis or like a, you're not going to publish in a Scopus Index journal or anywhere. It is for our own benefit. It is for our own institution benefit. So when you have the report, please share with everyone. Okay, so I hope that in this 1 hour time, you have gained some good knowledge from me. It is a very limited time for me because normally if I want to show the steps of doing action research itself, it will take 2 hours. Okay, so it is a very long process in explaining in depth on how to do the action research. Okay, but anyhow, if you would like to contact me, this is my email as well as my mobile number. Okay, so the audience can take note and you can send me email. Okay, I read the email for you: arumugham@gmail.com, and my mobile number is 6, this is a Malaysian code, 01255814405. Okay, so I will hand over the session to the chairperson. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening to this talk.
Thank you, Kalai Selvan sir, for illuminating and explicating us with your pool of knowledge. Without questions, there is no learning, and as questions are creative act of intelligence. With this quote, I would now like to hand over the time to Ms. Vinita Chopra, Assistant Professor, Metas Adventist College, Surat, for addressing the question answer session.
Thank you, Ranjita ma'am. Before moving on to the questions, I want to read out certain comments from YouTube from the participant side. We want to convey to the speaker that it was an informative as well as an interesting session. In one word, I want to sum up the session. It was enlightening. Now, starting from the first question, we have Miss Rupa from Mysore, Assistant Professor from Mysore.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good afternoon to one and all. Good afternoon, sir. Really, the session was wonderful and it was informative. My question is, sir, actually, you said the action, you gave very good information about action research. My question is regarding when we do the research, we conduct pilot study. Can we use action research for action research as pilot study? This is my question, sir.
Okay, meaning to say that you are going to use the pilot study data to conduct action research.
No, sir. Actually, can we conduct action research for pilot study?
Action research for pilot study. Yes, you can do it. The data will be very benefit for you because you want to do the pilot study, mean you start with action research. So from the action research, the data, the input that you gain is a very good things for you to start for the research for the next step. And the data is a sourceful things for your pilot study.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Neha. I'm studying in Metas Adventist College, Surat. I have a question that can you explain the relationship between action research and management?
Action research
and management.
Okay, action research and management. Okay, action research is more on how you are managing your program. In a very simple word, I can say action research is, of course, it is a research, but it is more on how we are managing our institution program. Okay, because why? As I said just now, sometimes we have a lot of programs. We have a lot of things to share with our institutions, the faculty members. But when you come to the programs, okay, there must be a management on how you can do the action research. And definitely action research and there must be management in action research.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
good afternoon, sir.
Yes,
sir, this is Achal Doshi from Metas Adventist College, Surat.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question for you. That nowadays, as education is going online, summaries, audiobooks, problem solvers. So, how it has affected the classical education system?
Okay, very simple things I can say. It is a time for us to change. Okay, mentally and physically. Okay, like if you want to keep on like in our traditional methods, of course now it is not suitable, because like traditional methods, we know that when we have the I mean like face to face also, the teachers or the lecturers or the educators, they are trying to give a lot of input for the students. So what is happening at that particular things? Okay, students, still there is a teacher-centered learning process. Okay, the changes in this current situation, especially during this COVID, what happened is we don't have the face-to-face interaction. We are more moving on online classes. So if you cannot understand a lesson, what you will do? You will explore by yourself. Am I right? You have to access,
Yes.
you have to search for the information. So that is a part of a learning process. So what I can say is, this is the time for all the students to adopt with this kind of situation. We try to adopt with this kind of situation, and we have to think in for the future. Let's say maybe like a very worst situation can come where all the students will have to study from home. You cannot go to the universities at all. You cannot go to the colleges at all. So what we can say is, like in this current situation, we try to take this as a lesson for our further improvement. And I prefer this online teaching because why? It gives chances for the students to explore more rather than depending 100% for their teachers or lecturers.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome.
So we have some questions from the YouTube part.
Okay.
Question is, does action research can be done by medical professionals also, or is it only for social practitioners?
Everyone can do. This is not limited for the social science. This is not limited for a social science. Okay, like medical students, they can do action research to see their practice, because this is on improving our practice. Action research is on how we can improve our daily practice. So it can be done in any field: education, medical, business. Okay, so whatever the education field, it is action research in education, because medical students also is a part of education. Am I right?
Yeah.
So it can be done for anyone, also can do this one.
Okay, sir. And the second question is, how action research is useful for our disabled children?
Okay, disabled children. If you give me time, I will give another 1 hour, 2 hours talk on this one. Okay, so the special needs children actually is what we can say. It is a very best source for us to do action research. Why? When we come to the disabled children, they have many types of what we can say disabilities. So for each of the characters, we have a different characters. So for each of the characters, we can come out with a solution. We can try to do, okay, for these particular students, the assessment method must be different. Okay, for these particular students, the approach must be different. Okay, so before I forget, I want to tell one more thing is, action research, not only you need the sampling of action research, is not like a big numbers or big population. You can do action research with one sampling itself. You can use one person. You just try to study, okay, for three weeks, for example, or for 12 weeks, for example, 3 months. So you try to study on his behavior, how these children changing, how what are the changes that you can see. So special need children and special need educators, please do a lot of action research so that you can improve your practice a lot. Okay.
And sir, the last question to you is, what is the basic difference between student-centric research and action research?
Okay, come again. Student
Centric research and action
centric.
research.
Okay, student centric research and action research.
Basic.
Okay. So the difference is actually student centric research is the students is doing a research for his own benefit. Okay, he or she is going to try to solve the problem for he or himself only. It is very generic. Okay, it is very generic. But when you come to action research, you are going to solve a problem. Both research is going to solve the problem, But action research is more on solving practical problem in what we are doing daily. Like we come to the class, we want to teach, okay, or maybe you have some teaching and learning skills. So action research is basically on the practical issues only. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Vinita Chopra. Thank you, Dr. Kalai Selvan, for taking time and addressing all the questions patiently. I would now like to invite and call Mr. Ranjit Prakash, Assistant Professor, Metas Adventist College, Surat, for offering vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, all. As all good things come to an end in life, so is the webinar. On behalf of Metas Adventist College, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have contributed in this international webinar on action research in education. At the outset, I thank our resource person, Dr. Kalai Selvan, for inspiring us on action research in education. Sir, we are very delighted with your knowledge and with the presence which thou has given us in this webinar. We are also thankful to our Honorable President and CEO, Dr. Elia Shikakoli, and our HODs, Dr. N. Mohan Rao sir and Dr. Anil Kumar sir, for initiating this webinar series. I would like to thank our organizing committee, the marketing team, and the IT team for their support and contribution. Our heartfelt thanks to our participants for dedicating their time and made themselves available to attend this webinar. With your presence, we are very much thankful to you, and you have made a difference today. Thank you for joining us. Please do watch out for more webinars and be a part of this Metas learning community. I wish you all a good day. Stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ranjit Prakash, sir. Thank you, Kalai Selvan, sir. Few announcements to note for participants. Please do fill the feedback form and submit without fail. Registration and filling up of feedback form both are compulsory for procuring participation certificate. Your e-participation certificate will be generated in next 5 working days, and link for the same will be communicated in Telegram group of this webinar. So participants are requested not to leave the Telegram group. The end is always followed by a new beginning. With this quote, once again, a warm and hearty thank you to all participants for joining us on Zoom as well as on YouTube. Do subscribe to our official YouTube channel of Metas Adventist College and stay connected with us to get more updates on our next lined up webinars. Thank you all.